Hello everyone, I welcome you all to this lesson. Today I am going to discuss Merchant of Venice, Act-4, Scene-1, Part-1, which is written by William Shakespeare. This scene takes place at Venice, a court of justice. So here I begin. And before that, let me ask you, have you subscribed to my channel? If you haven't subscribed up till now, then please do. And watch the video till end. And press the like button if you have liked my video. So let us start Act 4, Scene 1, Part 1. This act is the climax of the drama. It is here that all the action takes place. And when the scene opens, we find Antonio is in the court of Venice. The Duke is there. Famous gentlemen of Venice are there, and the Duke tells Antonio that he has tried every possible way or manner to soften Shylock, to stop him from taking such a stern course or stands obdurate. But he stands stubborn. So Antonio says, "Yes, I have heard the pains you have taken." But Antonio at this moment seems to be quite resigned. So there are several adjectives that the Duke joins with the name of Shylock, which are he tells Antonio, "I am sorry for thee, thou art come to answer, a stony adversary, an inhuman wretch, incapable of pity, void and empty, from any dram of mercy." That means he calls Shylock stone-hearted, he calls him lacking in human quality, pitiless and merciless. 4 points. You might get a question, what are the adjectives or what are the different ways in which the Duke describes Shylock? And Antonio tells the Duke he has heard that the Duke has done the best to soften Shylock, but he stands stubborn and in an legal manner. So these are the adjective phrases through which the Duke describes Shylock. So he is telling Antonio that I am really sorry for you because you have come to defend yourself against a stony adversary, that is hard-hearted adversary, means opponent, and inhuman wretch, that means wretched fellow who is devoid of any human character, incapable of, rather it should be incapable of, pity, that means pitiless, and void and empty from, and dram of mercy, that means he is merciless. So Shylock is described as hard-hearted person, that means his heart is made up of stone. He has no human qualities. He is inhuman person. He is pitiless. He is merciless. So what does Antonio answer to this? I have heard your grace had taken pains to qualify his grooms, to qualify his rigorous course, but since he stands obdurate and that no lawful means can carry him out his envies reach, I do suppose my patience to his fury, and I am armed to suffer with a question of spirit, the very tyranny and rage of his. So Antonio, as if he has resigned to his fate. Remember, in an earlier scene, he had gone with the jailer to Shylock to request him to be merciful. But Shylock had very sternly told him that he is not going to become sentimental and forgive him. So then Antonio had realized that Shylock is in no mood to forgive him. Shylock is in a revengeful mood and he has his reason. So that is why he has as if accepted his fate. He has resigned himself to his fate. So he tells the Duke that, "My lord, I have heard that you have taken a lot of pain to soften the strictness or the severity of the case. But since Shylock remains stubborn, he remains obstinate, and there can be no legal manner in which I can escape his malice. There is no legal manner which I can escape his malice. I am ready to face his penalty patiently. I am ready to face his anger in a patient manner. I have earned myself to face to his steadiness and his anger with a quietness of spirit. So he has made himself ready. He had accepted, he had prepared himself to face the tyranny and the anger of Shylock with a quietness of spirit in a quiet manner. So the Duke says, "Go one and call the Jew to the court." So the Duke orders one of his employees of the court to go and fetch Jew, Shylock. Today is his day. At this moment, at least, he feels so. So he will come with all stubbornness, strictness, sternness. Earlier he used to behave in a polite manner, though he had been insulted several times. He would always behave politely. Why? Because he was in minority in Venice. The Jews are minority in Venice, but today he knows that he might be a minority, but the law is in his side. So today he will come, yes, nothing to listen to. So Salario says, "He is ready at the door, sir." "He comes, my lord." So Salario says, "My lord, he is standing at the door." "He comes, my lord." Enter Shylock. So the Duke tries to pacify Shylock with his speech, but in vain. He makes an attempt to pacify Shylock, but he does not succeed. "Make room and let him stand before our face." So the Duke says, "Make room and let him stand before our face," means let him stand, let him face us. Shylock, "The world thinks, and I think so too, that thou but leadest this fashion of thy malice to the last hour of the act, and then it is thought thou wilt show thy mercy and remorse more strange than is thy strange apparent cruelty. And where thou how exercest the penalty which is upon of this poor merchant flesh, thou wilt not only lose the forfeiture, but touch the human gentleness and love. Forgive a moiety of the principal. High hopes. Actually, the Duke is trying his best to butter Shylock a little, speak to him in a very polite manner, and trying to show that they have high expectations from him. So Shylock, everyone thinks, and even I am also of the same opinion, that you will keep up your revengeful spirit till the final stages. And when the time comes for you to cut the pound of flesh, then what will happen? You will suddenly become repentant and merciful, and it will be an unexpected, as if this unexpected cruelty. So at this moment you are cruel, are unexpected, in the same manner as repentance, remorsefulness and merciful nature, which will come to the front, that will also be equally unexpected. And now you are asking for the penalty, but that time you will not refuse to accept the forfeiture, but at that time You will not only refuse to accept the forfeiture, but touch the human gentleness and love. You will also forgive a part of the money which he owes the principal amount of money. You will forgive him a part of it. So that is why I say a high hopes from Shylock. Shylock has come here to take the penalty. He as well as the principal amount. And the Duke is telling that your cruelty is unexpected, but we all are of the opinion, and everyone, and even I am of the same opinion, that when the time will come for you to cut the pound of flesh, you will suddenly change. How will you behave? You will behave in a merciful and repentful manner, which will be equally unexpected at this moment you are demanding penalty, which is a pound of flesh of this merchant from the merchant's body. You will refuse to accept the penalty, and not only that, you will also give up your claim to the part of the principal amount which he owes to you, and the principal amount is 3,000 ducats. And you will also forgive him that part, means to say that you will forgive a pound of flesh, that is, you will not take it, and you will also forgive a part of the money, that is a part of 3,000 ducats. Because keeping an eye on his losses, you may take, say for example, 3,000 he has lent you, 1,000 ducats or 2,000 ducats instead of 3,000 ducats. As Antonio has suffered severe loss, so he has been unable to pay the money. So keeping an eye on his losses, you might also forgive him a part of the principal amount which he owes to you. And why you do it? Why will you do it? Because you are touched with human gentleness and love. Glancing an eye of pity on his losses that he has of late so huddled on his back, now to press the royal merchant down and pluck commiseration of the state from bossy bosom and the rough hubbards of flames, from stubborn Turks and Tartars, never trained to officers to tender courtesy, we will expect a gentle answer. We will expect a gentle answer, Jew. So he says, of late means in recent times, Antonio has suffered heavy losses. They have become a burden on his back. Such a heavy burden that it is enough to press a royal merchant like him down. The burden of heavy losses are so heavy that the burden of losses on his back are also heavy, enough to press the royal merchant like Antonio down and also draw pity of his condition. So he is in such a condition that it will draw pity from those who are never trained in his offices of pity, mercy. Who are they? Those who have brassy bosoms, that means those who have bosoms or heart made up of brass, that means hard-hearted. Metallic, who has no softness in them, but Antonio's condition is such that it will evoke pity from people who are hard-hearted, whose hearts are like flint. So even these type of people will feel pity for Antonio. Flint means stone. So those people whose hearts are like that of stone, even they will feel pity on Antonio. Antonio's condition is such, from stubborn Turks and Tartars, never trained to officers of tender courtesy. We all expect a gentle answer, Jew. So Antonio's condition will also evoke pity from the hearts of Turks and Tartars who have never been trained to be polite to others, to be merciful to others. Even they will feel human kindness for Antonio. We all expect a gentle answer, Jew. So, Jew, we are all expecting a gentle answer from you. That means if the Turks and Tartars, if people having brassy bosoms and rough heart of flint, if they can feel pity on for Antonio, why can't you? Through these, he is pressurizing Shylock. The Duke is pressurizing Shylock for becoming merciful towards Antonio. But Shylock, he is not a person to set foot on their trap. He is a clever person. He knows where he stands. He has already decided what his stance would be. So what does he say? I am possessed, your grace, of what I suppose. So I have already informed you, my lord, of my inclination, of what I intend to do. I have already told you what my intentions are. And by our holy Sabbath have I sworn to have the due and forfeit of my bond. So I have sworn the divine oath by the Sabbath. Sabbath is actually a holy festival of the Jews. So I have sworn by the Sabbath that I will take the due as well as the penalty incurred by Antonio regarding the bond. Antonio has incurred a penalty because he has failed to keep up his term and conditions of the bond. So I will not only take the due but also the forfeiture. I have taken an oath by the Sabbath, so I am not going to break down it for Antonio. If you deny it, if you refuse my penalty, due or forfeit of the bond, if you refuse it, let the danger light up your charter and your city's freedom. So he is warning, he is threatening the Duke, that he is telling that if you refuse my penalty, then your city will be in danger. Your city is the charter, where the charter is the rule book. Your city charter will be in danger. Let the danger light upon your charter and your city's freedom. So your charter, your city's freedom will be endangered if you refuse to give my due, to give me my due and forfeiture and forfeit. You'll ask me why I rather chose to have a weight of carrion flesh than to receive 3,000 ducats. So he says, you might ask me that Shylock is a very mercenary man, very money-minded person. And why is this Shylock refusing to accept money? After Antonio had failed to pay the bond, the money, the 3,000 ducats, since Shylock had got him imprisoned, Antonio's friends and everyone came out to help Antonio, and they had offered money to Shylock, but he is refusing to accept it. That is what he is saying. He is telling. You will ask me why I rather choose to have a weight of carrion flesh than to receive 3,000 ducats. Now there are people who want to offer him 3,000 ducats to get Antonio free, but he has refused it and says, no, I will take the penalty. I will go for the pound of flesh. So he is telling to the Duke, you might be wondering why I am insisting on my pound of flesh rather than take 3,000 ducats. I will not answer that. I am not going to answer. So yes, I am under no compulsion to answer that, but say it is in my humor. I say it is my inclination and it is my wish. Is it answered? Have you got your answer? What if my house is troubled by rat and I be pleased to give 10,000 ducats? to have it banned? Now suppose my house is being troubled by a rat and it is troubling my house, tearing and biting and are being very troublesome. And in order to get it killed, I pay 10,000 ducats. So what you answer? Yes. So have you got your answer? Indirectly, he means that Antonio is spoiling his business and he has used this 3,000 ducats to get rid of Antonio. My house is being troubled by a rat and in order to get it killed, I pay 10,000 ducats. What are you answered yet? Yet. So have you got your answer? Some men that are love not gasping pig, some that are mad if they behold a cat, and others when they hear the bagpipe. For affection, master of passion, sway it on the mood of what it likes or loathes. So he says that there are some people, so different people, have different inclination. Some people, they don't like gaping pig or an open mouth pig. And some people actually, when the pig is roasted and presented at the table, served at the table, and some men don't like the mouth. Some men, they have any irritation when they see a cat, and some people, when they hear the sound of a bagpipe, they get irritated. So Shylock says, affection master, he of affection, sways it to the mood of what he likes or loathes. So actually it is the personal inclination of a person which governs his passion. My personal inclination governs my passion, and according to it, I like or dislike something. It is my personal inclination. I might like ice creams, you might not. So, as such, my fondness for ice creams may not be well for a particular reason. I may not dislike it when you are, whereas you may dislike it, yet you find no possible reason as to why you dislike it. So it is your personal inclination governs your passion, and as a result, you like or hate something. Now for your answer, as there is no firm reason to be rendered. Why he can't abide a gaping pig? Why he, a harmless, necessary cat? Why he, a swollen bagpipe? So as these people hate a cat, or someone who hates a gaping pig, or someone who cannot tolerate the sound of a bagpipe, and yet they cannot give any solid reason as to why he hated, in the same way, but of force, must yield to such inevitable shame as he offend himself being offended. So can I give no reason? Nor I will not, more than a lodged hate and a certain loathing, I bear Antonio that I follow thus a suit against him, while and are you answered? So I cannot also give you any particular reason. So a person, when he gets offended by something, suppose when a person gets offended by something, he is offended by a cat, and when he is offended, he offends others in the same process. Suppose I hate cats. I go to someone's house where the cat is a domestic animal or a domestic pet in their houses, and they are fond of cats. And the moment I say them to take away the cat, I don't like the cat which I saw it, I am offended on seeing the cat, and then I offend the people of the house to offend the cat when that cat is quite a favorite animal, favorite pet of theirs. So himself offended as to himself being offended. So when I get offended, I also offend the others in the same process. but I cannot give any reason why I am offended by that particular thing, whether it is a cat or the sound of a bagpipe or whether it is a gaping pig. So in the same way, Shylock says that he cannot also give any particular reason that why he has a hatred towards Antonio. He has a deep-rooted hatred towards Antonio, and that is why he is filing this unprofitable case against him. Yeah, this is unprofitable. This is unprofitable because a pound of flesh, he has already said earlier, a pound of flesh is not a profitable as the flesh of a mutton, beef, meat, the flesh of a goat, cow or a sheep. They are all profitable because they are eatable by human flesh. They are eatable by human beings. But a human flesh is not profitable. Unless a person is a cannibal, human flesh is unprofitable. So Shylock is following this unprofitable suit against Antonio because of the deep-rooted hatred which he has, which it is in his heart for Antonio. Are you answered? Have you got your answer? Bassanio is now very offended. When he hears this, so he says, see, what does he say? This is no answer, thou feeling man, unfeeling man, to excuse the current of thy cruelty. So you heartless man, unfeeling man, this is not a satisfactory answer to excuse your cruelty. So Shylock says, I am not bound to please thee with thy answer. So Shylock thinks it is his day and says that I am not compelled to make you happy. I am not there to make you happy with my answers. So Bassanio says, do all men kill the things they do not love? So does it happen that a man kills something which he does not like it? Like for example, I might not like you, but does it mean that I should kill you? No. So just because someone does not like something, it does not follow that he should get it killed. There are many things which he does not like. There are many people whom we don't like. Many creatures which we don't like. But it does not mean that I have to get that being killed. Shylock hates any man that the thing he would not kill. So if a man truly hates something, wouldn't he kill that? Bassanio, every offense is not a hate at first. So every fault that is committed immediately, it should not be committed just because of hatred. If I have done something wrong, that doesn't mean it should not be taken as a hatred. As a cause of, it should not be taken as a cause of hatred. So he feels that Antonio has failed to pay the bond, has failed to keep the conditions of the bond. That doesn't mean that you should hate him and want him to kill him. Actually, he doesn't know that before Antonio has signed the bond, also Shylock had deep-rooted hatred for Antonio for various reasons, just not making the condition of the bond. In Act 3, Scene 1, he had said that if I once get upon his hip, so if he catches Antonio in a disadvantageous position, he will take his revenge. He has already said that to himself and not to either Antonio or Bassanio. So Shylock says, what wouldn't thou have a separate sting thee twice? So what a nice argument. Bassanio says that just because if someone has committed a fault, It should not become the serpent to sting me twice. Before you take any action against him, will you like the snake to sting you twice? This is the first offense for giving. How can I kill him? Let him sting him. Second time, then I will kill him. Does anyone say this? No one says this. So, will you allow the snake to sting you twice? No. So, Antonio is really fed up of all these answers. So, he says, I pray you, think you question with the Jew, you may as well go stand upon the beach and bid the main flood bait as usual height. You may as well question with the wolf why he hath made the eve bleat for the lamb. You may as well forbid the mountain pines to wake their thigh tops and to make no noise when they are fretting with the gust of heaven. You may as well do anything most hard as to seek soften that than what's harder, his Jewish heart. Therefore, I do beseech you, make no more offers, use no further means, but with all brief and plain convincing, let me have judgment, let the Jew his will. So Antonio is telling, why are you questioning him? Why are you arguing with the Jew? Rather, you can do many impossible things. Try to do impossible things that they might be possible. Like if you go to the seashore and ask the waves not to rise as high as is usual, that means to reduce their height. You might go to the seashore and tell the waves that not to rise so high, as this is an impossible task. This is an impossible thing, and yet they might listen to you. You might go to the wolf and ask the wolf why the wolf is crying, why the wolf has made the mothership cry for its lamb. That means the wolf has eaten up the lamb. The mothership is sad because. So you might go and ask the wolf, why did it? The wolf might feel sorry. You might go to the pine trees of the mountain when the wind blows through them like children you had read in the lesson, A Face in the Dark. That when the pine trees, the wind passes, there was a strange sound. So you might ask the pine trees not to make that sound. So you might do anything most hard as seek to soften that which was harder, his Jewish heart. So you might try to do the hardest thing in the world rather than an attempt to do something which is harder. Trying to soften Shylock, his Jewish heart, according to Antonio, is harder than the hardest thing, and this is not possible. So I am requesting you, don't make any more offers to the Jew, that don't take any further steps to try to pacify him in a brief manner, as answerable possible. Let him have the judgment without any further delay. Let me have the judgment and let the Jew have his wish. So let the wishes of the Jew be fulfilled and give him the judgment which I deserve. So now Bassanio, if he is bargaining, as if he is bargaining, for that 3,000 ducats, here is 6. So Bassanio has come loaded with money from Belmont, from Portia. So he offers 6,000 ducats. To this Shylock says, in every ducat, in 6,000 ducats, wherein 6 parts, and every part a ducat, I would not draw them. I would have my bond. So 6,000 ducats, every ducat you divide it into 6 parts, and every part has a value of the ducat of 6 ducats. That means 6 into 6,000 ducats, that is 36,000. If you have to offer me 36,000 ducats, then also I would refuse to accept the money. I would go for the pound of flesh. Duke says, how shall thou hope of mercy, rendering none? So how can you hope for the mercy from God when you show no mercy to anyone? Shylock, what judgment shall I dread thee, doing no wrong? So what judgment should I be afraid of, because I have done no wrong? If I do wrong, then I would be afraid of God's judgment, and then I can plead to God for mercy. Yes, have among you, if you have purchased a slave, which like your asses and your dogs and mules, you use in abject and in slavish sports, because you bought them, shall I say to you, let them be free? Mercy them to your hairs. Why sweat thy under burdens? Let their beds be made as soft as yours, and cut their palates be seasoned with such wines. You will answer, the slaves are ours. So do I answer you? So in those days, slavery existed. So many of you have purchased slaves, and you use these slaves not as human beings, but like your domestic animals, and you treat them like domestic animals, and as such you treat your mules and dogs. You treat the human beings in such a way because you have bought them. So if I tell you, why have you kept them imprisoned? Why are you treating them as slaves? Free them. Free your slaves. If I tell you, marry them to your heirs, to your sons or to your daughters. If I tell you, why are you sweating under the burdens? Why are they sweating under the burdens? So let their beds be also made as soft as yours. Give them the same type of food which you enjoy. Will you listen to me? No, you will say that the slaves are ours, and we will treat them as we wish. So do I answer you? The pound of flesh which I demand of him is dearly bought. It is mine, and I will have it. If you deny me, fie upon your laws. There is no force in the decrees of Venice. I stand for judgment. Answer, shall I have it? So he says, in the same way, I answer you that the pound of flesh which I am demanding of Antonio, I have bought it at a very expensive rate, 3,000 ducats for 1 pound of flesh, and it is mine, and I am going to have it. This and nothing else can stop me from having it. If you refuse to give me my dues, shame upon your laws. Fie upon your laws, the rules of Venice. They have no force, they don't have any power. I am standing here for judgment, and tell me whether I am going to have it or not. Duke, upon my power, I may dismiss this court, unless Valerio, a learned doctor whom I have sent for to determine this, come here today. So the Duke tells that at least he cannot refuse Shylock, but at least he can dismiss the court for today. If he has that much of powers to dismiss the proceedings of the court today. So he has sent for a very noted lawyer, Dr. Valerio, doctor of law, to fight Antonio's case. So unless he comes here today, the Duke is not going to, the Duke might dismiss the proceedings of the court. Salerio, my lord, here stays without A messenger with a letter from doctor new come from Padua. So Celerio says, "My lord, a messenger has come from the doctor and he is standing outside. He has just arrived from Padua. Padua is the place where Dr. Bellerio used to live. And remember, he is the cousin of Portia. He is the very same person, Dr. Bellerio, to whom Portia had sent Balthazar to bring the notes and the garments. Duke, bring us the letter, call the messenger." So, bring the letter to us and call the messenger inside. Bassanio, good cheers, Antonio. What man, courage yet. The Jew shall have my flesh, blood, bones, and all, or thou shalt lose for me one drop of blood. So Bassanio is trying to cheer up Antonio. Antonio is in a very sad mood. Bassanio is trying to cheer him up. So he is telling that, "Antonio, cheer up. So brave, be brave, and before you lose one drop of blood, for my sake, I will give up. I will offer my flesh, blood, bones, and everything to the Jew." So in the meantime, what Shylock do? Just see how he is irritating. He takes the knife from the girdle. Girdle is the waistband. He takes his knife and starts sharpening it. Antonio, "I am tainted whether of the flock meetest for death. So I am the diseased sheep of the flock. So the sheep which is diseased one, it will die first. So I am more suitable for death, liable for death. The weakest kind of fruit drop earlier to the ground, and so let me. The weakest fruit drops first to the ground. The one which is rotten fruit falls down, drops down first to the ground. So let me means let me die." You cannot better be employed, Bassanio, than to live still and write my epitaph. So just now Bassanio had said, "Before you lose one drop on my account, I will give up everything, my life, my blood, my flesh, my bones, and everything, before you lose." So he says to Bassanio, "No, Bassanio, let me die, because I am like a diseased sheep in the flock, or I am like a rotten fruit in the tree. I am waiting for death, so let me die. Rather, what will you do? You will find a better employment and writing my epitaph." Epitaph is a small poem written on the tomb of a person who has died. That is, a dead person. So enter Nerissa, dressed like a lawyer's clerk. So Duke is asking, you come from Padua? From Bellerio? Have you come from Padua? Have you come from Dr. Bellerio? So Nerissa bows. "For oath, my lord, Bellerio greets your grace. Yes, I have come from Padua, from Dr. Bellerio, and they say that Dr. Bellerio has sent his greetings to you. And my lord, this is..." Then she presents a letter to the Duke, and in the meantime, Bassanio notices, "Oh my God, this fellow is sharpening his knife." Bassanio, "Why dost thou whet thy knife so earnestly?" So why are you sharpening your knife so earnestly? "To cut the forfeiture from that bankrupt there." Shylock says, "I am sharpening my knife to cut that forfeiture, that 1 pound of flesh from the bankrupt there." He is referring to Antonio. Gratiano, "Not on thy soul, but on thy soul." That is a pun. Here, S-O-L-E, soul means the sole of the shoe. And S-O-U-L, soul. Soul means the human soul. The audience would not know this. We are scholars, so we know about it as we are reading it. So we know the difference between the two souls. One is the soul of the shoe, and the other one is the soul, the human soul. You have it within you. Graciano is telling that it is not the soul of your shoe, but your immortal soul, that you are making your knife keen. That means you are sharpening your knife. He seems to be sharpening the knife on the sole of the shoe. But Graciano says that you are not sharpening the sole of your shoes, but you are sharpening it on your immortal soul. But no metal can, no, not the hangman's axe, bear self of the keenness of thy sharp envy. Can no prayers pierce thee? So he says that no metal, even the axe of the hangman is a man who executes. Executioner's axe also, it cannot be as sharp as your envy or your malice. Your malice is sharper than the axe of the executioner. Aren't there any prayers which can penetrate, which can pierce your heart? To this Shylock says, no, none. That thou hast wit enough to make, no. None that you are intelligent enough to make or clever enough to make. And now this is very important speech of Graciano. He lashes out to Shylock. Graciano, oh, be thy damned, inexorable dog, and for thy life let injustice be accused. Thou almost makest me waver in my faith, to hold opinion with Pythagoras, that the soul of animals infuse in themselves into the trunk of men. Thy courage spirit, governed a wolf who hanged for human slaughter, even from the gallows of his fell soul fleet. And whilst thou layest in thy unhallowed dam, infused itself in thine, for thy desire, and foolish, bloody, starved, and reverent. So Graciano is very, very furious. He is very angry, and he tells that, you obstinate dog, may you be cursed, may justice be blamed for allowing you to live, and seeing you have started having doubts in my Christian faith. Christians don't believe in rebirth, and Graciano, being a Christian, believed in that now he starts believing the theory of Pythagoras, which is the transmigration of soul. That means the soul can live on body, can leave one body and go in another body and take a rebirth. And the Christians don't believe in rebirth. So transmigration of soul means the soul of animals. Sometimes they enter the bodies of the human beings, and that is the explanation why you behave like an animal and not like a human being. So earlier Graciano never believed in it, because according to the Christian's faith there is no rebirth. But now, looking at Shylock, he has started having doubt about the Christian faith, and says, yes, transmigration of soul might be possible. So what does this principle, that transmigration of soul, means? The soul leaving the body of animals. Many times when the animals die, they leave their body and enter the human body, and as a result humans behave like animals. And now he tells Shylock that your curious nature, that means your dog-like spirit, was in the body of a wolf, and this wolf was killed, or rather hanged, for killing human beings. This wolf was put in the gallows for killing human beings, and as the body was being hanged, the body can be killed but not the soul. So What did the soul do? It escaped from the body when the wolf was being hanged, and when it went and take refuge. It went and took refuge in Shylock's mother's womb. Shylock was at that time unborn. He was in his mother's womb. And then Gratiano calls his mother a bad woman. So he says, unhallowed dam. So you were in your mother's unhallowed womb. Unhallowed means holy. So you were the body of your mother, of your bad mother. And the soul of the wolf entered your body. And that is the explanation of your inclination of behaving like a wolf. Bloody, scared and ravenous. Where ravenous means like that of a rabbit. To this Shylock says, till thou canst rave the seal from off my bond, that thou offendest thy thing to speak so loud. Repair thy wit, good youth, or you will fall to cureless ruin. I stand here for law. So Shylock is quite amused at the raving and ranting of Gratiano. So he says, until your words, thy have the power to remove a legal seal from my bond, you are only wasting your efforts. You are only putting a pressure on your lungs uselessly. So try to cultivate a better sense of humor. Try to cultivate a better way of speaking. Otherwise, it will be ruined completely. So I am standing here for law. In the meantime, the Duke has read this letter and he wants the letter to be read by the whole court. So the whole court should listen to what the letter says. Duke, this letter from Valerio doth command a young and learned doctor to our court. Where is he? So this is the recommendation letter sent by Dr. Valerio. See, anyone and everyone will not be allowed to fight the case, to fight such a serious case. So Dr. Valerio has sent a letter, a recommendation letter which allows Portia to fight Antonio's case. So the Duke is asking, where is that young man and learned lawyer whom Dr. Valerio has recommended him in this letter? Naresa, he attended here hard by to know your answer whether you will admit him. So he is waiting close by and he wants to know your answer whether you are willing to allow him or not. Duke, with all my heart, some there or 4 of you, 3 or 4 of you, go, give him a courteous conduct to this place. So the Duke says that I will allow him in the most willing manner. Some 3 or 4 of you, go and bring him to the court in a polite manner. Meantime, the court shall hear Valerio's letter. In the meantime, we will hear Valerio's letter. So, we will end here for today, and I will do this Act 4 in 2 parts to finish this, as it is the lengthiest scene. So, dear children, with these words, I end Act 4, Scene 1, Part 1 of Merchant of Venice. Do share, like and subscribe my channel. Hope this video will be beneficial for you in your studies. Watch the video till end. Thank you.